Of a dark room now. We're excited. Today we're gonna talk about, if you haven't seen on our Facebook and what we've been doing, we just got back from Dave Ramsey again, visiting him. So we're gonna unpack some of the stuff that we learned from Dave and his organization. One of the cool things that was kind of unexpected for us, in Entree, if you don't know Dave Ramsey, or if you know Dave Ramsey and you say, well, you know him because he's the guy who helps you get out of debt, believe it or not, that's only one of Dave's companies. Financial Peace is only one of Dave's companies. Dave Ramsey's company is a giant umbrella of these top companies underneath him. Very successful. I mean, this man is just gifted. But one of his businesses is Entree Leadership. In Entree Leadership, the way he came up with that name is, Entree stands for entrepreneur, and leadership stands for leader. So what he did was he combined the names because that's what he believes the future is, and successful people. They both have to be entrepreneurs and both leaders. So there's hundreds of big companies that are in his Entree Leadership, that get coached by his systems and trained by him. And we're one of them. We've been doing it with him since 2016 in October. And quite honestly, a lot of the things you see happening here at this office are based on a lot of his foundations. So when we showed up there this last week, we've been blessed, so blessed by the growth of being trained underneath him. Out of hundreds of big companies that work underneath him, we got awarded the Momentum Award. So Dave Ramsey, and this is probably one of his highest awards that he gives out to these companies that truly take back what he does and implements it. And so we were flattered to get that. I will tell you guys, this award is all of us. It's not just us, it's all of us. That's what earned this award, and we understand that. So it's pretty cool. That'll be up front. You guys can check it out.
If you look at the award, there's an equation that he puts on there. It looks like an algebraic equation, and it actually has Fi over T with G in parentheses equals M. And what that stands for is focused intensity over time multiplied by God equals momentum. So that's the foundation of the award. So
pretty cool stuff. So anyway, let me share with you our journey that we took with Dave. When we went there in 2016, it was kind of by, I'm not going to say accident, because Angela, we listened to his podcast, and Angela said, hey, for my birthday, would you mind taking me to one of his big seminars, the Entree Leadership Workshops?
Now you can see what a nerd I am.
Can I go to the workshop for my birthday?
And you can see how much I love her because I can't stand workshops. So we did, and all that goes through my mind is, I've been through a lot of training companies. We've got coached and mentored throughout the years. We always want to practice what we preach. And what we preach is, to be the best of the best, you need coaches, you need mentors. Guys, I'm going to tell you right now, going through life as a professional, and you think you're going to do it alone, that's a tough road to follow. But here's the problem. The problem that we always ran into were, who do you know to trust? Who do you know that's good? Because we've had personal coaches, business coaches, that I have to say after a few weeks of being on the call with them and being coached, I would say to Angela, you know what, I'm not wasting my time no more. I know more than that person. And not in a conceited way, but through life experiences, and it gets frustrating because you always want to surround yourself with the best of the best. So throughout the years, we dabble with this one, we do coaching with this one, and it's not a bad thing. You always want to try out different things, but nothing really ever said, wow, that was unbelievable. So when we sat through this seminar back in October of 2016, it's 3.5 days. Guys, you're there from 8 o'clock in the morning till 5:30 at night, non-stop. And all I kept saying is, oh my gosh, I can't sit through an hour class. How am I going to sit through this and then days on end? So when we went through it the first time, I was on the edge of my seat. Guys, that's no lie. The information he feeds you was mind-blowing. Now, mind you, just to put in perspective the timing, we just broke off from West USA as our parent company. We just broke ground on this building. So,
I don't think we have.
yes, we did, October. Just broke ground as we left. And so it was really great timing to go there. And here's, after 3.5 days, here's what me and Angela said to each other.
We don't know anything.
The exact words I said is, we don't know shit.
Okay.
But here's the cool part. The cool part is, that was like really good news. Because we're already successful. And we have so much to learn as business leaders. So we started to apply a lot of his stuff. And you might not know exactly what it is, but we're going to share some of this stuff. But what you see happening is intentional. This is not an accident, guys. What we apply is intentional. And most of it are Dave's concepts. So what you do is you mimic who you see as successful. So just to give you some of the things that right away jumped out about his company. So I'm not going to say we have a lot in common because that guy's wealthy. I mean, he's making hundreds of millions of dollars and very successful with his businesses. And we even had the opportunity last time we went to go to his house and actually hang out with him. And you get to see him on that level. Really cool guy. But here's what hit us the most. When I say he kind of mimicked us, he had a bunch of spaces all within the same location because he kept growing and growing and growing. So at the time when we were over at the old facility, if you guys remember, it's almost like we were renting out another space in the shopping center because we kept growing and growing. So there's were the similarities. But the key was, how do you keep a culture when you're kind of divided a little bit? It's not easy. And that's what we learned from him. So when we got there, what blew us away was his staff. You see, anybody can say they're great, but when you see the people that work for him, and they worked for him as if they own the place. That's how excellent they worked. That is intentional, guys. That's not an accident. His hiring and firing process is intentional and very strict. He gave us this statistic this time. He doesn't market like that he has jobs available. So there's nothing out there. People just contact him. Do you know how many inquiries he got of people that wanted to work for his company? Somebody take a guess of 1 year.
Last year, in 2017.
1,000, well, that's a good guess. 1,000 increase for somebody who doesn't advertise. No, higher than that. 5,000. No, 18,000 people applied to work for the Dave Ramsey organization. 18,000. That is what you call attraction. He's not sitting there trying to put out ads to look for the best of the best. The best of the best seek him out. Those are some of the parallels we have here.
Well, he only hired 176.
Yeah. His interview process is at least 10 to 11 interviews. That's like unheard of. Like, could you imagine you interview for a job and they make you keep coming back and back and back, like 11 times, meeting different people in the company? And one of them, if it's an executive position, one of the interviews is he has to go out to dinner or lunch, either with their significant other or spouse, if they have one. And he actually told this funny story. They thought they had a superstar that was coming on board, and they really wanted him, and they were going through the whole interview process. And they said, to the last piece to the puzzle is they went out to dinner. So it was Dave and his wife, and this guy and his wife.
And somebody else in there.
Yes, well, the CEOs, this is a big deal. So through dinner, he's saying, everything's great. I mean, this guy's charismatic, he's smart, he's witty, but the wife was like quiet the whole time. And then towards the end of the meal, he goes, the wife all of a sudden spoke up, and I can't do the accents.
She goes, you all seem like you're really religious. And Dave's like, yeah. Yes, we have a relationship with Christ. And she goes, I don't think we're going to fit in.
And like Dave talks about his thoroughbreds and donkeys, and it was like he heard, eeyaw, he heard the donkey. And so it's kind of cool, his process and what he gets and his guidelines. So anyway, where I'm going with it is, so you see his staff, they take ownership. And I never forget the first time we went there, I had to walk from one building to the other building because I wanted to get one of his daughter's books. Now his daughter's Rachel Cruz, and she does a lot of speaking. She writes, she's a great author, and she speaks throughout at a lot of the churches. And when we went in October, we just happened to see her the week before here in Phoenix. She was at Cornerstone. Unbelievable speaker. So when we got there and we heard,
I think it's Chandler Christian, isn't it?
yeah, Chandler Christian. So, no, Central.
Central.
That's what it was. It was a church.
Whatever.
So when we got there, we didn't think she was going to be there because she was doing this whole book tour. But they had said that, yes, she's going to be speaking during the thing. And I said, wow, how cool is that? So I said, I'm going to go, let's go. They have a bookstore in one of the main offices. I'm going to go buy one of her books so that when I see her, maybe I'll get her to sign it for my daughter. So as we were walking across the parking lot, because they were all there, I was walking with one of his staff. She was bringing me there. And I actually said to her, so I said, do you really all act this way? Or is this something you put on because you know you have all these guests? And just by their reaction, you can't make this up. She was just gleaming. She was with him for 4 years. And she stopped and she goes, I love where I work. He is that good. This organization is that good. The culture here is like that. It's not normal. So as we're continually walking, who do we cross paths with but his daughter was walking to her car. So I stopped her and I said, hey Rachel, I go, we're in the EntreLeadership. I go, I'm getting one of your books. And this was the first day. I go, could you sign this for my daughter for me during the seminar? And she goes, yeah, no problem. And she asked, and I said, we just seen her at church. And so she called me Phoenix. That's what she was calling me. So here's the story behind it. Rachel came, she spoke on a Tuesday. Now this ends up on a Thursday afternoon. Spoke on a Tuesday, didn't get a chance to grab her. She had left too quick. And because she said to me, she goes, I promise I'll sign it for you on Monday. Thursday afternoon, we're just finishing up the whole seminar. And Rachel's nowhere to be found. And I said, you know what, not a big deal. She just had a baby. They were on a trip. You know what, I can understand that. Do you know, as we were packing up, getting ready to leave, she had come running in, and she goes, hey, Phoenix, I didn't forget about you. Now, that's character. What that says to me is it's a reflection on her parents. Do you see these type of things? You don't make these things up. You can't pretend to have a culture like that. He instills it into his kids. He instills it from the top down in his company. What did you get?
Well, this time, we brought some staff members with us. I wish we could have brought them all, but then you guys would have revolted, and I don't know what happened.
You'd be like, where's our check?
So we brought some. We brought some this time. And we actually said to ourselves before we went, we're excited for our staff to hear this. We've heard it. We've been watching, we spent all a year reviewing the information over and over and over. We've brought some of you through some of the information. And I have to admit that we were a little lackluster about going back. And I'm going to tell you, we got more out of it the second time than we got out of it the first time. It was extraordinary. And we came, instead of coming out, we still don't know anything, by the way. It's really
That's good news for you guys.
Yeah, it's really good news. But even bigger than that, what we realized as walking out of those days, those intense days, was we think way too small. We think way too small. We recognize all of these invisible ceilings that we're putting on ourselves in so many different ways. And I said, if we're thinking small, our people are thinking small too. So we have a responsibility. If we want to change, we have to change our thinking so that we can change our results. And we want excellence. That's our minimum standard, is excellence. So I know that one of the themes that I took out of that, not that I haven't thought about this before, and we've talked to you guys about this before, but taking extreme ownership. And today I'm going to talk about just a couple of ways, this is just like that much, but a couple of ways that really struck me about taking ownership. And the first one is, for you guys and for me, is taking ownership, extreme ownership of your business. So did you know that if you're getting your butt kicked in this business, it's your fault? It's 100% your fault. It is. You're 100% in charge of your activities. And real estate's not rocket science. It's difficult, but it's simple. It's hard to execute, but it's simple. There are certain activities that you do, and if you do them over and over and over again and improve each time, guess what? You will get results. So if it's kicking your butt, it's totally your fault, which I think is a liberating concept. That we're not in an industry that we are subject to, right? It's liberating. You are in control. And the other part of it is magic bullet help is not coming. It's not coming. It's only up to you. I've got some information that you're going to find staggering. I'm going to read a little. Here at Revelation Real Estate, I know we do some things right. We do some things right. First of all, we have extremely relevant how-to training. And your trainers are some of the best in the industry. We have tiered levels of support depending on individuals, whether that be going into a mentorship program, partners, teams, being an individual. We have 6 brokers at your beck and call. At your beck and call.
You know, it's funny. I want to stop there for a minute because, you know, me and Angela are always talking about business and always talking, how do you improve? How do you make it better? There's some things that maybe this is your only company you've been at, or maybe you've been at this company for quite a while, that you may feel like the things that you see here are normal. And here's where I'm going with this. When she talks about 6 brokers on staff, one of the things, the conversation we had, because Catherine, our managing broker, was with us, and we want to make things excellent, even better. And she tells us how our brokers, I'm going to tell you guys right now, when we talk about our brokers, these guys and girls work so hard to answer your calls. And they don't just answer your calls, they are excellent at answering questions. Because I deal with brokers from other companies who I shake my head and it seems like they don't even know anything about real estate. So that's one thing, guys, you don't realize how good your brokers are, how patient they are. Watch, when you speak to them,
They are patient.
you are one of hundreds of calls they may be getting in a day. Hundreds. My brokers are like nonstop answering calls. Here's what I said to Angela. Because when I was looking at the volume of calls they answered, I said, something's not right with that. Because the other question is, do we need to hire another broker to get calls? Just because here's it, not that they can't handle it, I don't want them to be burnt out. Do you understand? That's how I look out for my staff. So I said, wait a minute. Yes, our company's incredible, but we're only one office. Yes, we do a lot of business, but we're still only one office. So, look, let's face it. You got companies like HomeSmart, Realty One. They have thousands of agents. Collectively, with their thousands of agents, do way more production than we do. That's a fact, just because the sheer number of agents. They don't have 6 brokers on call. So I said, what's wrong with this picture? How come they don't have that many people, and they do way more transactions, and in my opinion, they probably have to deal with way more crap because their agents, most of their agents might not be as trained and are part-timers. I go, what's the problem? And Angela says this to me.
What did I say?
She forgets what she had for breakfast.
I'm so excited to hear what I said. I had a shake.
Welcome to my world. She says, that's why we're as good as we are. Their brokers don't take direct phone calls. Their brokers don't respond to their agents in that timely of a fashion or as quick as we do. I'm not saying, so I don't care if people beat me up on Facebook, I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying they don't work as excellently and as fast as we do. We are different. So I wanted to interject when she was talking about, you guys don't realize, or maybe you do, the level we operate at in the customer service we give you guys.
So I was talking about, I went through the training, the support of different structures, the support of the brokers. Our tools and systems are off the charts. We have programs that work your database for you. We have people to help with your marketing. We have this amazing building and we have wine.
And the smell of bacon.
Bacon.
What better to wake you up in the morning and walk into bacon?
But do you know what else we have? We have realtors who are failing. We do. What? We do. And guess what? It's their fault. It's their fault. Because you guys need to take extreme responsibility and ownership for your business. You're in charge. Did you know, again, if you're getting your butt kicked, it's your own fault. We can't make you do it, but it's hard, you say. It's so hard. So hard.
Oh, so dramatic.
But that's how people are. It's really hard, you guys.
I got no patience for that. You're making my hair stand up. I don't want to be around that.
I know it's hard, and I'm not even making fun of that. We have been there. We've been in the trenches. We've been failures. We've overcome obstacles. But here's the thing. You can either choose discomfort, or it will choose you. There's only two choices.
Really process that. There's going to be discomfort either way. Mm-hmm. Either you choose, what is that, pick your poison?
Yeah, you can pick it by door knocking and getting over it, or doing 6 to 8 hour open houses, or getting out after it. And it's going to be uncomfortable, but if you keep going through that discomfort again and again and again, do you know what will be on the other side? Money.
Or don't do it and feel comfortable, but then you'll have the discomfort of, how do I pay my bills?
Broke is uncomfortable, you guys.
We
Chuck
know
and
it.
I know. Broke is way more uncomfortable than going and door knocking and doing open houses and pushing through activities.
You know, one of the things that I really want you guys to understand, here's the cool thing, no matter where you are in your business, you can be successful. You could be sitting here today going, I do good. But if you're striving for more, you're thinking too small. I want to really dwell on you're thinking too small. When we, for a week, surrounded ourselves with the best of the best, and you see Dave Ramsey up there, and you see Chris Hogan up there, and you see one leader after another. They're the elite of the elite, and I'm listening to them speak, and I'm going, I feel like a peon compared to what these guys do. And I'm not even talking just about Dave. I'm talking about people that are in his business, that act like they own the company. Sky's the limit, guys, that you could achieve. But you got to go after it. So here's 3 things that I tell you what we do. See, we don't give up. To me, I don't give up. I'm never stopping until I'm out of breath. Well, that's probably later on today, but no, until I have no breath is what I should be saying. So here's the thing I'm going to challenge you guys. First of all, invest in yourself. If you don't invest in yourself, you can't do anything else. And when I say invest in yourself, I mean seek to be the best you could be. Be uncomfortable. Seek people who are better than you. Plug into what we have. After you do that, Invest into your team if you have a team of people, because that's what we do. We invest into our team. You see, I challenge any other company that do what we do. We invest into our team, into our staff, each and every one of them, both business and personally. You see, there's no separation. And then you go out there and get it. Guys, you got to set these high levels of expectations. Stop playing low. You know, we just got the news, and I know there's always something tragic going on. It's kind of crazy. The more you live, the more tragedies you hear. And the more you're like, wow, that's sad. So we have our food delivery guy who always sits in the cafe, and you've probably seen him sitting in there. He's walking home. Now, I don't know all the details. Walking home the other day, he's got a wife and 2 little boys, hit by a car, in the hospital, unconscious. Don't know if he's going to make it. That's crazy, guys. We go through life like we're never going to die. We go through life like, well, tomorrow I'll think about doing that. Now, if you're comfortable in your life, this message ain't for you. I'm not telling you that everybody's got to strive to be extraordinary in what they do, because you could be an extraordinary house mom. That's not what I'm saying. But if you're sitting here or you're out there today going, you're not happy with what you have, like Angela said, your fault, period. Oh, there's days that we question what we do. I run 6 businesses. I said to Angela, you know what, if I got rid of it all and just sold real estate, I'd be like in Disneyland again. You know how easy that would be to be a mega top producer, not having to deal with anything else? Not saying that your problems don't go away, but that's not what we choose. Guys, it is uncomfortable. The other thing I want to talk about is the culture here. I love hearing everybody else talk about culture. Culture. Oh, we have culture. No, you don't. You don't have culture. What is culture to you? Culture is intentional. It is intentional. We're trained to, as leaders, here's what leaders do. Leaders don't push. That's what most leaders do. They push. Here's what we do. We pull. Come along. We're going to help you. We intentionally create this culture. This culture is a big deal to us. And when we see Dave and the culture he has what,
almost 700 employees.
700 employees. And they're all like family. The thing I love hearing is when somebody says, don't go to their company, you'll be just a number. A number? What is that based on? You could be in a company of 5, and your number could be 5. The amount of people doesn't constitute if you're a number or not. If you feel like you're a number in here, and those people out there watching, you feel like you're a number at our company, it's your fault. It's your fault. We're around. We like to personally know people. We invest into you. Culture is intentional. Creating relationships by nature separates on its own. Just like a marriage. If you don't work on your marriage, what happens? It pulls apart. Naturally, stuff goes to destruction, not to perfection. Do you work on that? Do you work on relationships with each other? We lead by example. Our staff, I'm going to tell you something. Like I said, I got to keep going back to our staff. Our staff is that stinking good that I'll put my staff up against any staff out there.
Even Becky's brother.
Yeah, let's keep.
Inside joke.
Inside joke. So, what we have, guys, is not an accident. It's intentional. And we will do everything in our power to keep it that way and to constantly work on it. Anything else you want to add in there?
I do. So the other thing that I really took away that struck both of us, I think our whole team really, is about taking extreme ownership of your time. We all hear things about time management, but I want to just share a few thoughts with you. Do you feel like you don't have enough time for things? Do you ever feel that way, that you just don't have enough time? Like, give me some examples of what you feel like you don't have enough time to do. You just shout it out.
With family.
Family, working out, what else?
That's it.
Time for yourself, maybe
That's
leisure
enough.
time, whatever. Everyone says that. I've caught myself saying, I don't have time. I've run out of time, right? Do you know a bunch of people or somebody who just seems to get way more done than you do? You look at, you're like, how do they get that much stuff done? I don't think any of this is a surprise in the beginning. Time is the most finite resource that we have. We can get more money and we can get more resources, but you can't get more time, right? So if we do some math and we have, all right, mathematicians, some of you are like this, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week is how many hours? 168, right?
Damn, that was quick. I was starting to use my fingers.
And so we all have 168 hours in a week. So let's say you sleep 8 hours a night. You don't, but let's just say you did. Some of you are like, yes, I do. Like, I don't. But let's say you do. So 8 hours a night, 7 days a week, 56 hours. Okay? Someone do a little math. You say 168 minus 56 hours. You've got 112 hours left. 112 hours. And how many hours do you work? Don't answer that. Let's pretend you work 40, no, 50, 60. Let's say I work all the time, you say. I work 60 hours a week. What does that leave? 52 hours.
Awake.
Oh, wait. 52 hours left. And you don't have time? That's not true. It's a total myth. We all have the same amount of time, 52 hours. If you work a 60-hour work week and you sleep 8 hours a night, do you think most people who work 60-hour work weeks actually sleep 8 hours a night? No, because they're trying to squeeze in all this other stuff. You have time. So what's happening to your time? You're just spending it wrong, period. It might be TV, it might be Facebook, it might be spacing out. I don't know what it is for you, but you're not making it a priority. So people say, what are important to me? Oh, my kids are important to me, my family's important to me, my health's important to me. Does your time reflect that? Or are you making excuses to say, I just don't have the time, which is a lie.
Well, I have a question. Is Facebook important to you? Anybody?
Yes.
Facebook's important to you. Good. I like that because you probably use it for business, right? Anybody else? Well, no, Angela hates when I call people out. But here's my challenge. If you think in your mind Facebook is important to you for business, here's my challenge to you. Number one, how much business do you get from it? No, now, here's what I'm saying. There's probably some of you that are really good at it, that get business. But number two, how much work, how many hours do you need to be on it a day to make that effective? Because what I'm going to say is, you spend hours on Facebook just mindless. You ain't working. Don't tell me you're building relationships. Because it's the people who say, but I'm building relationships. And I go, how's that working out for you? I haven't done a deal in 4 months. Do you see? Now, some of us intentionally work at it and are good at it. But when Angela says, is it that important? And if you say, okay, it's not that important, these things over here are important, then why are you spending your time on stuff that's not that important?
I heard this with fresh ears this last week. Because I feel like I get a lot done, but I still don't feel as effective as I could be. And I'm not saying that every single second of the day you have to be being this efficient person. Like, I saw a TV documentary, this was forever ago, about a guy who was so obsessed with being efficient that he had a weight that he washed so that he could get out of the shower in the least amount of time. I'm not talking to that
Did you
extreme.
really watch something like that?
I really did. It was really whatever. This is going to sound so stupid, but it hit me so deeply. I deleted Candy Crush off my phone. Now, I don't spend hours.
She did. And
I
when
really
I see
did.
her doing it, she started twitching and having a seizure, then started crying.
A little. So I deleted it.
I'm
not
watching her
because-
do it in the middle of this one saying
I was.
I'm watching her do. I'm
Delete.
like, holy crap, A woman's impacting you right now.
Seriously, it really did. And I said, it's not that I spent hours on it, but I know in the morning I spend about 20 minutes while I'm doing something else. And I was like, what could I be doing? Now, I'm not saying you don't do leisurely things or things that are maybe relaxing for you. But I said, okay, I can choose 2 things that are relaxing for me, Candy Crush or reading. I love to read. So why am I doing Candy Crush? To put colors in a row? No. So, I mean, we're making, people who understand this and grasp it realize we have choices to make. And every choice matters at some level, whether it's minor or major. How many times, I'm going to give you some examples. How many times do you do things you don't want to do, say yes to things you shouldn't say yes to, go places you don't want to go, and spend time with people you don't want to spend time with? Why? Why are you doing that? Is it the highest and best? I've gone to parties I didn't want to attend, a whole bunch of them. I've spent I spent time with people I don't even like.
What, do you go out when I'm sleeping?
No, you're with me. I've said yes to activities I don't want to do. We actually volunteered, this is ridiculous, for 6 months to be daycare people at a church. That is not my giftedness. I'm not even sure I like my own children sometimes, much less other people's children. So we've all done this. And the problem is, here's the problem. There's one thing I'm doing things because you're loving. Are you doing them because you're loving or you want to be loved? It's the difference between being a person who is investing into other people, and that takes sacrifice, as in contrast to a people pleaser, which is a waste of time and energy, right? So these things impacted me so deeply. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Just because you're good at it and you're available doesn't mean you should raise your hand and volunteer. I heard all of these things last week. And then there was a scripture that I had never applied to the concept of time. And it's Matthew 7:6. It says, do not give dogs what is sacred. Do not throw your pearls to pigs. If you do, they may trample them under their feet and turn and tear you to pieces. And I said, they actually presented that to me. I wasn't smart enough to figure that out myself. But what's sacred and what are pearls? Your time. Your time, and who are you giving your time to, and what are you giving your time to? Because they're pearls and they're sacred. The more intentional you get and the more successful you are, the more you have to say no. And here's the thing that blew me away the most. You have to say no to really good things sometimes to say yes to great. So some people who you like just fine, who are worth your time, who are really good, you sometimes have to say no to them because you have something great that has to occupy that time. It just blew me away.
So here's what I'm going to leave you off with that I know his whole foundation of his company is based on. 3 things. And you need to ask yourself this. Where are you going? Where are you going? That's your vision. Where are you going? We as a company, we have a vision. I know where I'm going. I want to just keep seeking to be the best and to create the best agents and to attract the best agents and to create something that nobody else has ever done. There's no end to that. That's our vision. You guys need to have a vision. Then you need to know why are you going there. That's your why in life, guys. Why are you going there? And then the last is your mission statement. How are you going to get there? Because you need to put that in writing. It needs to be a plan. Too many of us, day by day, go through days haphazardly. Chris Hogan, who is one of Dave's right-hand men and does a lot of the speaking, he said this. He goes, I have a schedule every day. A schedule. I live life purposely. He goes, I have it where I only return phone calls twice a day and emails twice a day. That's how purposeful I live my life. Their whole company is structured. Their divisions in their company, when they have meetings, they're in there with a purpose, laser focus. They all work excellently. Their leaders, here's the crazy thing, and Dave's really big on this. Their leaders do not make excuses for anything. There's no such thing as an excuse. Get it done. Period. There's a period after that.
Or own it.
Or own it. And if you're owning it too many times, maybe you're on the wrong seat on the wrong bus. That's how he looks at his company. You guys have to have a vision. Here's Proverbs 29:18. Where there is no vision, the people perish. Where there is no, you have to have a vision. We go through life waiting to see what dictates what we're going to do for the day. Here's the sad part. There's a bunch of you in here right now, and I can guarantee 90% of you, when you're done with this, you don't know what you're doing next. You're like, oh, all right, do I get something to eat now? Do I go look on Facebook? Oh, let me check my emails. Maybe something happened that is going to dictate my day. That's reality, guys. I'm not putting nobody down. We all go through it. The reason why I'm saying that to you is so that you acknowledge it and work on it. Win the day.
Don't forget, I know we've said this before, but it may have been a long time. One of my favorite things that I learned the last time we went is if you find yourself talking to yourself saying, you know, I'm just not that intense. I'm just not like that. He goes like this, honestly, on the stage. Change. He's like, change. Well, that's not my personality. I don't, I'm not outgoing. Change. Right?
The other thing is he'll say that to somebody, and they'll say, well, I don't think, Dave, like they'll say this to Dave, yeah, I don't think you're doing that the right way. Or I don't look at it the same way you do. And he looks at him and he goes, well, there's the door. Yeah. Because I'm not leaving.
Yeah. It's really, it sounds sarcastic and it sounds a little brash, but it's actually true, right? But I'm shy. I don't want to knock on the doors. Well, change. And you all have the power, or don't, right?
And then what you got.
But you
I have to leave with this funny story. So we get to the airport, and we get off the plane at Tennessee, and there's 6 of us. So we got a van cab there. Oh. So we get in the cab. I get the front seat. And as I get in the cab, the body odor of this cab driver like almost knocked me back out of the cab. So we get in, and Tracy's sitting right behind the cab driver. Okay?
And I'm like beside her, so I can kind of see the cab driver.
So we're in the cab now, starting to pull out, and he rolls down his window a little, so his nice breeze shoots right back to Tracy. So, she's getting the whole, experience. So as he's driving, he's got country music on. I mean, what do you want? We're in Tennessee. And so I got my head pointed to the window the whole time because it was pretty unbearable.
And I said to Tracy, Tracy, I think our cab.
No. He's got the music on, and here's how he's driving the van. He's like sitting right up on the steering wheel, and he's got his hands like this. So he's driving like this. Okay? And he's got the music on, and all of a sudden you start to see this. And Angela first goes, is he like dancing to the music?
I said,
oh no.
I said, no, Tracy, I think our cab driver's falling asleep.
He's falling asleep at the wheel. So the cab's going into the other lane. Tracy.
And I'm like this in the back seat. Honestly, I'm doing
Tracy's in the back seat, panicking. And all of a sudden you start hearing she's like, oh, like trying to make all these noises to try to wake them up. They're yelling at me in their mind because they yelled at me afterwards. They go, you weren't looking at him. I go, oh no, I was watching him the whole time. My face was just pointed this way because I didn't want to die in there. And well, we got there alive. Tracy was like had this panic-stricken look. She was like shocked for hours after that. So how to share that funny story.
Okay, we do have a few announcements. Do you have anything else, hon?
Nope.
Okay, we do have a few announcements. I cannot urge you enough to show up this Friday for our awards Even if you've been to them before, it's nothing like it's ever been. We've got such a treat for you guys to say thank you and to celebrate with you. Yes, it is about recognition, it is about awards, but it's much, much more than that, and it starts at 2 o'clock.
Guys, there's nothing more powerful, and this is one of the things that Dave really hit home with. There's nothing more powerful than physical camaraderie, physical culture. Something magical happens. There's a big difference when you sit here than when you watch online, just like Dave says. And he is actually, when I say parallel, he's in the process of building one huge building for his whole company to be under, because he believes in culture. He believes in that. So when we have these things like this award thing, guys, it's, you know what? You're just going to feed off of that energy of, okay, so maybe you don't get an award, but it just motivates you to strive to maybe get one. But you'll feed off of that energy. So that awards thing is going to be pretty cool on Friday.
And would I be overstepping is there tickets still available? Okay, so on Thursday night there are the BREA Awards, B-R-E-A, not Bria who works at the front desk, although she thinks it's spelled wrong. And we're being recognized as a group for our brokerage there, and there are still tickets. Heidi, raise your hand. If you want to know how to get those tickets to attend, it's a fun thing. We've been there before. It's nice. It's good food. It's good camaraderie. And so that's Thursday night. Do we have other things to announce?
Yes.
Okay, come on up.
Good morning. We have dueling pianos coming up on March the 10th. It starts at 5 o'clock. We're going to have a nice Italian buffet. It'll be a lot of fun. It'll be in our banquet room. On the 16th of March, we have a standard happy hour, but we're also doing it in conjunction with the Platinum Club members and their vendors, as well as newer agents. So if you could come out and support and get to know the newer agents and kind of help to build that camaraderie right from the beginning, that would be awesome. On April 7th, the last thing that I've got to announce is that we're doing a community day combined with a homeowners expo. It'll be in our parking lot. It'll start at noon. We'll have some of our vendors from Platinum Club there, as well as some additional vendors. And then we'll have some fun things for your clients and their families. Bounce houses, dunk tanks, face painting. So it'll be a lot of fun. We'd love for you guys to participate and use those opportunities to include your clients as well. Thank you.
Excellent. And guys, use our vendors. You know, our vendors are here for a reason. They're really good. You know, I would check out that loyalty gem that he has. Guys, that could be a cool little tool for you guys to generate some business. So chat with him about it. It could help you out, business out, and get some leads. So I think that is it for the week. We'll see you guys on Friday. God bless you guys. Have a great week.